Hello, Tar Heel Nation. Welcome to another episode of UNC Hoops Talk podcast. I am Dan DeWitt, and I'm so glad that you're joining. And I want to thank everybody that's been listening, subscribing, sharing the show. It's been great. It's been appreciated and noticed. And for any of those of you watching on YouTube, I apologize for the scruffy face. I'm about to take a week in Nebraska at the in-laws, and I figured one way to stay a little bit warmer up there in the north is to have a little facial hair. So that's the explanation for that. No guest this week. I was, we had one lined up. Had John, a huge supporter, probably the longest-standing supporter of the podcast, biggest supporter of the podcast. Only Patreon. If you want to become a patron, patreon.com/UNC Hoops. UNC Hoops Talk, /UNC Hoops Talk. But you can become a patron over there and support the podcast even more than subscribing and sharing. But he was supposed to come on, technical difficulties. Hopefully he'll be submitting. I think he'll be submitting in some of the stuff he had lined up that we were going to talk about. And I'll definitely mention that as I go here, if I can find where he's leaving that. But yeah, we don't want to spend too much time talking about the games anyway. First game, well, even before we get into the Indiana game, ACC Big Ten Challenge, the ACC wins for the first time in 7 or 10 years or something like that. Not that that's a big deal. I don't know. I don't really follow who's winning the ACC Big Ten Challenge. It means nothing to us as Tar Heel fans or any individual school for that matter. So yeah, but the ACC did win. But yeah, to us it doesn't really matter because the Tar Heels lost, and that's really what matters, or should matter, I guess, to us as Tar Heel fans. So yeah, we go into Indiana. We drop our first game of the year, 76-67. Pretty poor night for a lot of people. Looking at the stats a little bit, really Justin Jackson's the only person that really showed up. He had 21 points, 8 rebounds, shot 7 for 13, had 4 3-pointers. Kennedy Hicks, I guess, should be mentioned, 10 points, 8 rebounds, almost double-double. But Joel Berry only 8 points, shot 3 for 13. Positive note for Joel Berry, though, he did have 8 assists to 2 turnovers. So, even though he's not shooting the ball well, contributed, found another way to contribute as your best player should do. Isaiah Hicks, just 7 points. Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of unusual. We've been talking about how we get, so many people in double figures scoring, or, we're so balanced. Just 2 people in double figures for us, whereas they had their entire starting lineup in double figures. But they came out really quick. We're knocking down threes, hitting everything pretty much. Didn't seem like they were missing anything, and we kind of struggled to put the ball in the hoop, especially early. And I think I heard somebody say, we played better, or just as good, if not better, than Indiana for the last 30 minutes of the game, last 3 quarters of the game. It's just they hit really timely shots. We'd be getting on a run, we'd get it down to 9 or something, and they'd hit a 3. Or at one point late in the game, we got it down to 4, and they hit a 3. They hit, I don't know if they went on a run after that or not, but yeah, they answered enough to where they won. And I don't know if you'd say that they won comfortably, 76, or was it 76-67, 9-point win. Assembly Hall, tough place to play. Can't really complain about losing there. It was more about how we played. Joel Berry not showing up, Isaiah Hicks not having a great game. Some of those things, as opposed to losing. Losing Assembly Hall isn't the end for us. But the way we played, especially coming off such a great Maui tournament, is what says kind of more. We got to step up in those big moments, and we have some more coming up here where the guys can prove themselves a little bit more. Obviously, we got the Kentucky game coming up in a couple weeks. Makes that one a little bit bigger. Well, for us and for them, I guess, now that they lost to UCLA on their home court. So they lost, a big game because it was at home and it was UCLA. But now, it's a chance for both of us to get a good non-conference win, even though it's on a neutral court. Both of us would like to have that on a non-conference resume going into Selection Sunday. Probably a little bit bigger for UK because their conference is that much weaker. We get 2 chances to beat Duke. We're going to have a chance to beat Virginia, Louisville. So yeah, we have other chances, although, it's nice to get those non-conference ones as well. So yeah, that's about all we need to say about Indiana. We don't want to dwell on that. They played well enough to win. We did not shoot well, 6 for 20 from 3. Yeah, let's see. Well, rebounds, they were even. I know they were beating us for a lot of the game. So yeah, we came back and at least made it even, but not a great game by any means for us. And yeah, probably the biggest thing coming out of the Indiana game was in the post-conference. Sorry, I'm a little distracted here. I was finding John here. I found John. If you are watching, I think you are, but I found where you're commenting here. But yeah, just rehashing a few things here. Sorry, John. Just found your comments on YouTube. But no shave December. I will not go the entire month of December like this. I tried in November, only made it about halfway. I did kind of 2 halves of no shave November. But yeah, I guess John is calling himself the most valuable Tar Heel fan, which to this podcast, definitely up there. But yeah. All right. I know this is not good podcast material here, but catching up here. John's comments about the Indiana game here. Halftime score 41-29 for Indiana. We beat them actually in the second half 38-35. So yeah, obviously we played better than there, just not good enough. IU moved the ball, sped up the pace, and got us in foul trouble. And definitely that's something that we need to do better, is spread the court better. There was somebody, I think, on Twitter that there was a few plays of when we're driving the ball, our spacing is really bad. And so we don't have anybody kick out to. There's so many teams against us that will drive the ball, kick it out, wide open 3 because we help on D or whatever it is. So yeah, something we definitely need to work on is our spacing. Speeding up the pace should not ever be a problem for us, because obviously we want to run all the time at the top speed. So yeah, that should be a problem. But anyway, the biggest topic coming from the Indiana game probably wasn't even our loss, but Roy's comments in the post-game conference, press conference, where he said that he would like to have a crowd like that for every game, not just the Duke game in the Smith Center. So yeah, obviously taking a little shot at the Smith Center crowd, and we know we've taken plenty of shots from other fan bases for something like this. It's not something that's going to be resolved quickly. I know there's been a lot of people talking about it since. It's not as simple as just moving the student section. First of all, they're not going to do that because of all the people that have paid money to get those seats in the Smith Center. It's going to have to be building a new arena to get those guys out of those seats, and then placing the student section in a better place. But I have heard people saying or talking that the students do not even use all of their allotted tickets. So why are they going to move the students when they don't even use all their tickets? Now, I agree, we need to make the Smith Center louder, better, all that good stuff. But yeah, again, it's not just that easy as moving the students, I don't think. Students have to show up, whether it's a bad team, it's going to be a blowout game, or whether it's in the upper deck or the lower level. Like, if you want more tickets, you got to use the tickets you're having. So that's something there anyway. John's saying this is the reason that we don't have any biscuits, and biscuits bring in the fans. But we'll get to that biscuit watch in a little bit. But yeah, Roy, just taking a little shot, and obviously we need get the crowd better. It's just a matter of how to do that, and that's easier said than done. And yeah, we're not going to fix anything here. I'm not going to fix anything here. But we did have another home game finally, the first time in like 2 to 3 weeks at least. We played Radford at home on Sunday afternoon. Well, about at afternoon, I guess it was. Really, you only need to know two things about the Radford game. Kenny Williams, his quick start, huge first half by Kenny. He had 16 points in the first half, 4 for 4 from three. I think he was 5 for 5 overall. Started the half for us, ended the half for us, and we just came out quick. I think it was like 12-2, and then from there we just overpowered them. They couldn't do anything else. And then the only other thing you need to really know about the Radford game is Joel Berry's injury, and we'll talk about injury as well. And him and Theo also commented a little bit about his foot and stuff. And so that we'll get into that. But yeah, Radford, not much to say besides Kenny Williams was awesome. He ended up with 19 points, just hit 1 3 in the second half to end up with 19. It is Coach Robinson's alma mater. Speaking of Radford, and I think that's why we played it. It was kind of a favor to Steve Robinson and obviously Radford on the behalf of Steve Robinson. But yeah, Kennedy Meeks, 13 points, 9 rebounds in the Radford game. Isaiah Hicks, 12 points. Justin Jackson, just 8. But the good thing about that was he had 6 assists. So again, Indiana game, he knew he had to score. He came out. He did everything he could to help us and showed up in a big way. Radford, obviously we didn't need him as much. Distributed the ball a little bit more. Did go 0 for 3 from 3, so I don't like that. But Joel Berry, just 5 points, 4 assists, but that was just in 13 minutes because of his injury, not necessarily because of how he played. Kenny Williams got the start, and Roy did comment about the back and forth between Nate and Kenny, and he pretty much said, I don't want to have a starter because that starter is really Theo, and I don't want to have somebody named a starter and then Theo comes back and makes that person mad or anything like that. So probably a smart move by Roy Williams. There's a reason he's in the Hall of Fame and so many wins and all that. But it would be nice to have consistency, I think, for fans. But again, in this one, Kenny Williams shot 7 for 10 overall, 5 for 6 from 3, 19 points, 5 rebounds. Just looked comfortable, confident. Looked great in this one. And then my man Tony Bradley, he is my boy now. 10 points, 11 rebounds in this game. Nate Britt, also 8 points off the bench. Seventh Woods, 9 points off the bench in this one, but did have 5 turnovers with just 1 assist, and did look kind of shaky. It's a freshman in North Carolina's freshman point guard, not even just a freshman point guard in North Carolina's offense. So he's going to struggle a little bit. So John's saying this is our largest winning margin. Yeah, we won 95. Was it 95-40? 95-50, I think. We won by 45. And Zach Bowden here. Thanks for commenting, Zachary. Kenny looked like an 8th grader last year. Now looks like a legit athlete. He is so much more comfortable. I think it's, again, we've talked about this before, but accepting roles, and our guys have just stepped into some great roles, and Kenny knows his role now and is comfortable in that, and is just looking a lot more comfortable for sure. But yeah, John is saying our old record was 43-point win. Now it is 45 with this win. So and he was wondering if Kenny Williams would break the record for the most threes in a game. I think somebody said that was like 8 or something like that. So he had a little bit to go to break the record. But not much more to say about the Radford game. Obviously, we missed Biscuits by 5 points. So our Biscuits drought continues. And actually this Wednesday, I'm recording this Tuesday. Tomorrow, Wednesday, we play Davidson. And it'll be exactly 2 years since the last time we got Biscuits. Last time we scored 100 in a regular season game at home. And that was against ECU. You can go back a couple podcasts ago. We talked about that. But the drought continues. Maybe we'll break it against Davidson 2 years from that one. But It will have to be without Theo. He has not been announced to be back. I doubt he will be back. Pretty much can guarantee he will be back. And it will have to be without Joel Berry, as he has been already scratched from the Davidson game. And by the way, we played Davidson on Wednesday. Obviously, it is a 9 p.m. Eastern start, and it will be on ESPN2. If you're looking where to watch it, 9 p.m. Eastern, ESPN2, Davidson. Got to break the Biscuits drought. This may be one of the last few chances we have to break the Biscuits drought. We have, Davidson, Tennessee is at home. Then we have Northern Iowa, Monmouth, and then we're into ACC play, which we know becomes a lot tougher to score 100 against ACC opponents. So, yeah. So, yeah, John did throw up here the record for most three-pointers in a game here. Rashad McCants, what's that name? Had 8. And Raven Felton had 8 in a game. Shamad Williams had 8 in a game. So, yeah, Kenny wasn't all that close. Oh, also Jeff McGinnis, Dante Calabria, and assistant coach Hubert Davis all had 8 to do it. So you're gonna need 9 to break the record, and yeah, that's gonna be tough. And John says last time we played Radford, Tyler Hansborough broke the all-time ACC scoring record in 2009. So memorable games against Radford here. Although this one, I guess for Kenny it's memorable, but most of us are going to remember this game because it's the game Joel Berry got hurt. So yeah, looking at Davidson, hopefully we can break that drought of Biscuits, but more importantly, hopefully we just play well enough to win without Joel Berry. I'm guessing Nate Britt will step in to the starting position. It'll be Nate and Kenny and Justin in that front court, and obviously Seventh Woods, Brandon Robinson, normal guys coming off the bench there to back up. Will be interesting because Britt runs everything, or sorry, Barry runs everything, but also is obviously a big time scorer for us. So it'll be interesting who picks up the slack and where we pick that up, and how much we can score without Joel Berry, what we look like without Joel Berry. We know how important Kendall Marshall was the year he went down. Obviously we have point guards to back up Joel Berry this year, but do we have that scoring, and somebody to pick up the scoring when he's out? So we'll see. So Zach asked, is there a chance that Tony Bradley plays well enough that he's able to get drafted this year? I don't think. I mean, he could get drafted if he went, but he's not going to play well enough to where he goes to make it worth him going and get drafted. But anyway, Davidson, yeah, as John said, lots of international guys on their roster. They've kind of gone after that, and this is also the game where Britt has highest scoring game last year with 17 points against Davidson, and the most 3-point attempts were taken by North Carolina against Davidson, which was 35 back in 2003. John just throwing out all those. He's given us a history lesson here, playing Radford and Davidson here. So, yeah, Joel Berry out this game. They've already said he's questionable for the Tennessee game on Sunday, and looking forward to that game. We play. Let me make sure I got the time and everything. We play Tennessee on Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern, and that one will be on ESPN. And Tennessee, we've talked about it when we were going into Maui. They got blown out by, I don't even remember who it was now. But they have looked better as of late. So, it's a game we definitely have to take seriously, especially if Joel's out in that game. So something we need to be aware of. And again, as Roy was talking about the crowd in the Smith Center, these are 2 chances now to come in and show what our crowd can be like, even if the opponent maybe isn't up to the par of a Duke in Indiana, Kentucky, something like that. So we gotta show Roy that we can do it. We got to show the university that, hey, we should have the students closer and all that stuff. So yeah. So John, last little tidbit here from Justin is sorry, about Davidson is that Justin has most turnovers last season against Davidson in 5. So something to watch here. But let's see here. Let's make sure I've covered everything that I wanted to cover. Obviously, went through the Indiana game, Radford game. Upcoming is Davidson and Tennessee. Hopefully, no more technical difficulties, and we can get John actually talking on the podcast here. Again, he is a huge supporter, and I will make sure and put his Twitter, and if you have Google Plus, go follow him on either of those. But a huge support of the podcast. The podcast would not be where it is without John. I will say that very confidently. So hopefully we can get him speaking on the podcast here in the near future. But in the meantime, if you'd like to support the podcast, obviously just by listening, giving me words of encouragement, all that good stuff does it. Above that, sharing it out, telling your Tar Heel friends, family, anybody that you know that's a Tar Heel fan, let them know about it. Share it around, share it on social media. And you guys have been doing it. It's been awesome. If you want to go above that even, you can go to patreon.com/UNC Hoops Talk. That's patreon.com, patreon.com/UNC Hoops Talk. And you can give, I mean, it doesn't have to be anything. And everything goes right back into making the podcast better. Give $1 a month, give up 1 coffee a month and give $5 a month or something like that. And we'll get this thing rolling even better. It helps, if you subscribe and share it, and it just helps the podcast become more noticeable out there. So also would like to just throw out, if you haven't already, to subscribe on YouTube to the highlights channel. It's UNC Tar Heels highlights at YouTube. If you search that, you search UNC Tar Heels highlights and go to channel, you'll see it there. Not big yet, but subscribe and let's make it big. Definitely a need out there for more Tar Heel highlights out on YouTube. But I think that's all I got for you. I've rambled on enough. I want to thank John for trying to come on and giving all of the comments and input that he has here. John's got one last thing to say on the comments. He says Isaiah Thomas sucks. Yeah, we all saw that big meme or picture of him holding up the crying Jordan fathead. So that's all I got for you guys. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for listening. Thanks for helping me out. Until next time, go Heels.